Do you believe it was poor judgment to give 12 separate political contributions to Democrat senators while your nomination was pending?
Senator, I'm a citizen who just wanted to participate in the
yes
democratic
or no?
process.
Do you think it's poor judgment to cut checks to senators who are voting on your nomination while it's pending? No other nominee that we could find has ever done that. Do you think it was poor judgment?
Relatively small donations, no, I don't.
It was over $1,000, $32,000 over your life.
Well, that's over my life.
Well, over $1,000 while your nomination was pending. All right.
But not to one person. Most.
Oh, no. There were to a dozen senators, to a dozen different senators, including senators who've been critical of your nomination and senators who have not. You managed to cover the waterboard of Democrats running for office.
Washington insiders love to cover for corrupt radical nominees, but Senator Ted Cruz just marched into a Senate Commerce Committee hearing and completely exposed Biden's extreme FCC pick, Sohn. Cruz revealed exactly why Sohn was dragged back for a highly unusual third confirmation hearing. Let's head straight to the explosive footage.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Sohn, this is your third hearing. That is highly unusual. One of the reasons that you've had three hearings is that in the first hearing, you went through the entire hearing without disclosing the sweetheart settlement concerning low caste. And the entire purpose of the second hearing was when that came to light. You actively misled Ranking Member Wicker when he asked you in writing about the $32 million settlement. You did not correct the record that it was in fact only 2% of that amount, $700,000. You also disclosed at that second hearing that you never notified the White House of this sweetheart deal, even though you signed it literally the day after they announced their intention to nominate you. My question is this: do you think that your failure to disclose the secret deal to this committee and your failure to disclose it to the White House, do you think that reflected poor judgment, yes or no?
No, I answered Senator Wicker's question honestly. Okay, and I'm on advice of counsel.
No, you don't think it was poor judgment?
No, I do not, because I was bound by the confidentiality agreement of the settlement.
With respect, no, you were not. The confidentiality agreement, section 6.0, prohibited you from communicating with the media or the press. The last I checked, the United States Senate is not the media or the press. You had an obligation to answer this body accurately, and you did not. I would note the White House is not the media or the press, and you told this committee you didn't inform the president of it either. But let me move on. You don't think it was poor judgment to mislead this committee or to mislead the president who was nominating you. Let me ask you a second question.
Senator, I don't agree that I misled this committee, so I would like to make that
the record is, I believe, abundantly clear, and in fact, I will be sending out my cross-examination from the last hearing, where you repeatedly mislead this committee in that hearing. And in fact, we'll go ahead and actually put this up. I'll note, I asked, did you disclose to the committee that agreement? I did. Did you disclose the agreement to the committee? I did. Hold on a second. Did you disclose to this committee? Yes or no? I did. You disclosed the $700,000 secret settlement? No. So 3 times you say I did, and then, oh, no. You did not. You misled this committee, and you also misled the White House. Let me ask you secondly, the 15 months that your nomination has been pending, you've made not 1, not 2, not 3, you've made 12 separate political contributions to senators running for office. I've been in the Senate 10 years. I have never seen a nominee make contributions to senators while your nomination is pending. I've never seen that once. I had my staff search the records. If we could find anyone in the Trump administration who had done that, my staff was unable to find that. You've been a significant political donor over the years, giving over $32,000. You gave. Do you believe it was poor judgment to give 12 separate political contributions to Democrat senators while your nomination was pending?
Senator, I'm a citizen who just wanted to participate in the democratic process.
Do you think it's poor judgment to cut checks to senators who are voting on your nomination while it's pending? No other nominee that we can find has ever done that. Do you think it was poor judgment?
Relatively small donations, no, I don't.
It was over $1,000, $32,000 over your life.
Well, that's over my life.
Well, over $1,000 while your nomination was pending. All right.
But not to one person.
No. There were to a dozen senators, to a dozen different senators, including senators who've been critical of your nomination and senators who have not. You managed to cover the waterboard of Democrats running for office. All right, let's turn to another issue, which is you have been an active supporter of a left-wing activist group called Fight for the Future. And I will say the record of Fight for the Future is really quite remarkable because they have blasted members of this committee on both sides of the aisle. Here's a billboard Fight for the Future put up in West Virginia in 2017 attacking Senator Joe Manchin, a Democrat. The billboard essentially accuses Joe Manchin of being corrupt. Ms. Sohn, do you believe Joe Manchin is corrupt?
Absolutely not.
You don't? Okay, well, that's interesting. I will point out, in 2017, Fight for the Future also erected similar billboards accusing Senator Tester and Senator Peters of being corrupt, both of whom are members of this committee. I can't recall a nominee who's actively supported efforts to blast members of this committee to run billboards.
Senator, may I address that, please?
You may.
When you say actively, I give every single organization with whom I work on net neutrality $100 contributions at the end of the year.
Ms. Sohn, with
Doesn't
respect,
mean I agree with their
respect,
tactics.
the time is limited, and yes, it does, because after they put up the billboards attacking Manchin, Tester, and Peters as corrupt, afterwards, you sent this tweet. Just made my end-of-year donation to this organization, urging others to do it after they did that. And because the time is limited, I'll note this group also blasted Marsha Blackburn, Dan Sullivan, and Roger Wicker, and astonishingly called for Chairwoman Cantwell to be fired. And after each of those, to be removed from as chairwoman of this committee, after each of those, you supported it. And in fact, I want to turn to the final point, the Roger Wicker one, where this group protested and said, you're buying a senator, and you said you don't support their tactics. I'm going to point out, you tweeted, well done, to this radical group who blasted the former ranking member of this committee and saying that his donors were trying to buy a senator. If they were trying to buy a senator, were you trying to buy senators when you made a dozen contributions?
Senator, I did not know, number one, that that was about Senator Wicker. Number two, I was criticizing
It says
Senator
Roger Wicker right there.
Okay, well,
that is literally what you retweeted was his name.
That's fine, but I was actually criticizing the donors and not criticizing the senator.
Senator Markey.
Left-wing activists love to preach about transparency, but Ted Cruz brought the absolute receipts to the Senate record. He ruthlessly pinned Sohn down on a secret/settlement involving a streaming company called Lowcast, exposing how she hid the reality from the White House and actively misled the committee. The National Law Review. You actively misled Ranking Member Wicker when he asked you in writing about the $32 million settlement. You did not correct the record that it was in fact only 2% of that amount, $700,000. Do you think your failure to disclose this secret deal to this committee and the White House reflected poor judgment? The National Law Review. Sohn scrambled and tried to hide behind a classic legal excuse, claiming a confidentiality agreement barred her from speaking. But Cruz instantly vaporized the defense, noting that the agreement only applied to the media and the press, not the United States Senate or the President of the United States. He exposed her for lying under oath, showing 3 separate clips of her falsely claiming she had disclosed the secret deal. The National Law Review Plus. 1. If you are completely sick and tired of the unhinged, pay-to-play political corruption inside Washington, D.C., smash that subscribe button right now. We are breaking down the biggest political truth bombs every single day, and your support keeps us on the front lines. Cruz turned up the heat even further, bringing to light a staggering, unprecedented breach of ethics that left the room stunned. He revealed that while her nomination was actively pending, Sohn cut 12 separate political contribution checks to a dozen different Democratic senators. The National Law Review. I've been in the Senate 10 years. I have never seen a nominee make contributions to senators while your nomination is pending. I have never seen that once. Were you trying to buy senators when you made a dozen contributions? The National Law Review. Cruz's final blow was absolute destruction. He exposed that Sohn was a major financial backer of a radical left-wing activist group called Fight for the Future. He pulled out large charts showing that this exact group erected billboards calling moderate Democratic senators like Joe Manchin, John Tester, and Gary Peters corrupt. Cruz revealed the devastating smoking gun. Right after the group put up billboards slamming these senators, Sohn hopped on social media and tweeted that she had just made her end-of-the-year donation to them, actively urging others to do the same. She funded an organization that called for the committee's own chairwoman to be fired, completely undermining the integrity of her confirmation. the National Law Review Senator Ted Cruz delivered a lethal, undeniable cross-examination, proving that Gigi Sohn's record of deception and backroom political payoffs makes her completely unfit for any position of public trust. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on Cruz's epic takedown. Smash that like button and share this video everywhere. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.